So first up, I'd like to introduce Reena, head of Day One Strategy, who's put together some really nice insights on where the healthcare industry is going, and we'll also introduce our healthcare panel. Welcome, Reena.
Thank you. All right, so it's a pleasure to be talking about healthcare, something personal to us all, which makes the topic really engaging. First of all, I want to ask you all, who here has used AI to ask them a question about their health? Fairly sizable. All right. Some people are a bit worried about saying it. If tomorrow you were offered the option of having an AI triage before an appointment, would you take it? Ooh, less than I expected. Interesting. I'm going to tee up this talk with a little bit of insight, a little bit of work that we've done with QuestionPro, and a big thank you to the QuestionPro team who've been great partners with us on this. And we launched this study originally last year, so it's tracked. We have a previous wave of it, and it's just when the ChatGPT wave was happening. And I'm going to share some of the snippets of the insight, and then we have a fabulous panel for you with Alan Howe from Bayer Pharmaceuticals and Naila Siddiqui, who is a clinician that works at Imperial Health College. So thank you both for being with us, and Dan will be doing the honors of questioning and quizzing them. So this study is US-centric. It is a US study. So I would say that how representative is it of a UK scenario? We can temper the results slightly down. Generally, what we're seeing is this level of adoption is not reflective of a European market at this stage, but at least I thought I could share where the US is today. It's also really important to think about specialties when we think about healthcare. How a dermatologist would use AI is different to how an oncologist would perceive it and use it too. So all of the data sets are being cut by different specialty groups, and that also provides a separate lens to it. Now, in terms of usage, 1 in 3 clinicians of that 500 are using generative AI. Not necessarily in their daily practice, because it may not be legal to do so, but they are using it in their personal life. The number one tool is ChatGPT. I believe they're like one of the top 5 most used in the world now. So in terms of a usage platform, ChatGPT is reigning. Gemini by Google is getting great traction. They have great contracts with healthcare systems in the US. And the fact that they have a large language model which has been trained on historical medical language and data has put them in a really good place for that. And then you have Copilot, for which there are some mixed reviews. Yes, I knew there'd be a laugh, because I know you know. It is a shift up. If we compare it to last year, only 1 in 10 clinicians were using some form of generative AI. So we have seen a huge upswing. My prediction is by next year, it may be pretty much everyone's using AI. But caution remains, and I know probably Naila will talk about this in a moment. Trust on the data, and when you work in data, which many of you do, how much we can trust what we see in front of us really, really matters. And in healthcare, those decisions are far more serious. So at the moment, there's still a question around the trust that you have around generative AI, and that comes with liability. If I take the answer that's just been given to me and I can't source it back, where did it come from and what does it mean? I need to double think before I use that to inform a treatment decision. Will be something a clinician would need to worry about. So the future really will be about explainable AI, that I can click a button and know exactly what data has been used to train it, and therefore when you give me a suggestion, what's the rationale behind that suggestion too? I think this is reflective of the corporate world as well. We too cannot give data to our clients unless we can explain it. So this whole story is kind of similar and reflective of what we're seeing in our own kind of company as well. When you work in healthcare, you learn a lot about policy, and policy is a huge heartland of what's going on with the healthcare story. We've seen that last year, only 10% of clinicians had any type of policy in their hospital around AI. That has now gone up more than double to a quarter. So that's positive because it means some systems are being put in place and some rules are being put in place. But it's still quite low if you think about it. The other thing we're seeing is that AI is coming in more in terms of a strategic objective for a trust, and the idea that they can see a roadmap for AI is definitely a reality, and I'll show you the use cases in a second. One of the things we found quite interesting is the level of how prepared doctors are. Last year, 24%, a quarter, felt prepared that if Gen AI was implemented. That has dropped. More people are using it, and the level of preparation has dropped. Because I think it's a little bit more complicated than we first thought. The use cases are not so easy, the data is a little bit tough, and I think Alan's got some great viewpoints on how implementation goes, because it is difficult. So in terms of use cases, the top use cases of generative AI in a clinical setting, researching medical information. Clinical decision support is the holy grail. You have a patient in front of you, it's complicated. Their age, their demographic, their nationality, then all the symptoms. Are they telling you the truth? Are there other issues? If there's an ability for AI to help you sift through all the treatment options and think about all the varieties and give you a recommendation, wouldn't that be lovely? For many, many years, as I've interviewed many doctors, this is really the thing that they've wanted to crack. Clinical documentation, electronic medical records, electronic medical records, the pain of that for doctors. They're getting, the more latest models are getting Gen AI implemented, but you'll hear that the reality is most people are still on systems that were implemented in 2015 or 2017, we were talking earlier. But the big use case that's getting success is ambient listening. How many times have you been to the doctor and the interaction's been this? Yes, they have so much to fill out. They have to collect so much, and that 10 minutes, as we know, is so precious. Ambient listening is breaking that. I had a doctor tell me, for the first time, I can just look at a patient and have a conversation because I know that it's being collected and the right forms are being filled out. Ambient listening is really the biggest breakthrough so far in the healthcare system for those that are using it. And the main motivation is efficiency. Can we drive greater efficiency with the use of AI? There is expectations that AI will close the gap in the patient journey. There's more hope that we can give more support tools to individuals across the care pathway. How much information gets lost is a huge opportunity for AI. There's also a lot of work being done on digital twins. If we all could have a digital representation of ourselves and manipulate different decision points with it, it could be quite interesting. Clinical trials are happening now with this technology. There's a belief that this will become standardized for us all. We'll all have our own digital health twin. Clinicians do believe transformation is coming. They believe AI will transform EHRs and electronic medical records, let's hope. They believe that AI will transform the delivery of healthcare. And clinicians believe that it will help symptom pattern detection. And when we ask them what they want from companies, from those individuals that are going to provide them services, there are so many things that they're struggling with right now. From practical use cases, to safety, to tools that they could be using, prompting skills, lovely prompts, documentation and implementation. So the companies that are going to serve for doctors, help them get better and more efficient at their jobs, there's plenty here to crack and do more with. And with that, I pass to Dan.
Awesome, thank you.